Hey guys, Andrew Edwards here from Gear Life, back in the office, and today we want to give you guys a different kind of video. Typically we're showing off gadgets or interviewing technology companies. This is a video we shot at South by Southwest with Ellis Lab. They're the makers of ExpressionEngine. And ExpressionEngine is actually the software we use to run Gear Live. In the video, they're going to show off ExpressionEngine 2.0, their brand new CMS software. So if you're a blogger, or if you run a website and you need a content management system, and things like movable type or WordPress aren't doing it for you, you might want to check out ExpressionEngine. So check out the videos, check out all the new features that are coming out soon, followed by a question and answer with the Ellis Lab team.
Allows any kind of design, any kind of type of site, any type of structure to be integrated. It doesn't really impose a viewpoint. And so designers find that it's really an easy tool to use and to make sites that meet their particular vision. And so Kurt's going to do that. Next, Derek Allard is going to talk about CodeIgniter, our open source application framework. And we've got some really exciting news that's going to affect both ExpressionEngine users and CodeIgniter users. There have been some rumors, and the rumors are probably already out. People have been twittering our last presentation, so all of you probably know already everything that we've talked about. But he's going to talk about some things that I'm prohibited from saying at this point. I promised him last night. And lastly, Mr. Jones, Derek Jones, is going to unveil the new ExpressionEngine control panel, which we've rebuilt completely from the ground up, focusing on usability, ease of use, and the human interaction. Now that we've had 4 years to live with it and see what works, what we think could be better. And for the first time, I think we are really blurring the distinction between a browser-based web application and a desktop application in terms of ease of use and in terms of the human interaction, the user interface. Thanks to JavaScript and Ajax being now available and supported in a widespread enough manner that we can actually use it in a viable way. And we're excited about that. It's hopefully going to blow your minds. It did me when I first looked at some of the results of our development efforts. So without further ado, I'd like to present to you Kurt Deutscher.
Thank you. We have some core beliefs when it comes to working with developers and web professionals and personal people that are just publishing their own website or their own blog. We believe that it's important that you have control over both your data and your design. It's very important that your design shouldn't be heavily influenced by the content management system that it may be running within. And you should have full flexibility to design just about anything you can dream up, and then the CMS should be able to come into that design rather than the design having to work around some quirky little limitations within the content management system. We also believe that you need to have flexibility with your data and how you use your data and how you can set up your content and information within the website so that you can meet the specific needs of the client that you're working with, because every client is just a little bit different in what they need. We think that it's really important that you have support with that. We have paid support staff, and that comes with the price of your license. It's not something extra that you pay for afterwards. And the support staff is there pretty much, I don't know if it's officially 7 days a week, but I know that the support staff work even when they're not supposed to. And so there's always folks there to help you, and there's a community, and many of you are in this room with about 52,000 users that are using the product around the world, so there's a lot of support and people to get engaged with. We also believe that you deserve documentation and count on. So if you go into the documentation to look something up and you read about something in there, that when you go back to the version of the software, that the documentation and the software will have some relationship with each other. And you'll actually read about something and go, yes, there it is. We think that's pretty important, and so we can work really hard to keep the documentation up for developers so that your learning curve and your development speed is as quick as possible. Finally, we think that you shouldn't have to go through this whole journey alone. And that's part of the reason why we're trying to do more outreach, if you will, and communicate with our community firsthand and in person and be here today. I want to tell you a little bit about my story. One of the things that makes ExpressionEngine exciting for me is that I didn't start out to be an IT person or a technical web developer. I started out as a teacher and later a businessman, and made a career shift about 6 years ago. And in that career shift, I was looking for a new field to get into. And I got into the field of web design, like perhaps some of you in this room have in the last 5 or 6 or 10 years. And with the products this company produces, somebody that doesn't have tons and tons of technical skill was able to get in and get involved and get engaged, learn, study, get the support of the community, and build a business that does over 6 figures of revenue every year. And that is my little success story, but it's really the success story of this company because they gave me the tools I needed at the time. I was able to get in and get engaged with the tools, learn how to use them, and do something really exciting with it that will add value and hopefully my clients value. If you've never seen this product before, if you just walked in today, we want to give you a sneak peek of the inside of our current product and give you an idea of how easy it can be to use for somebody that doesn't have tons and tons of technical skills, that doesn't hand code their own PHP with one hand tied behind their back. And so we're going to start out with hello. This is a static web template, very simple. We're going to take you through this template, do a couple of changes to it really quick. And I'm being helped here by Lisa, who's going to do all the hand coding while I talk to you. She's going to take us into the inside of ExpressionEngine. This is our control panel. That is the HTML code that was running that template that you just looked at. And the first thing that she's going to do is put in a weblogs tag. We've put a little bit of information into our database and content, a couple of news stories. And she's going to type out a tag that we use called a weblogs tag that then queries that information out of the database. And she'll put that in and wrap it up with a couple of divs. And when she's ready, she is, then we'll go back and we'll preview that. She'll update the template. We'll have some content from the database. Oh my! As in the real world, occasionally you hit a colon or semicolon or something extra. And the cool thing about dynamic websites is bingo, it's fixed. Now, that's all great. There's lots of tools out there that can do that. We think ExpressionEngine is cool and that you can do more than that just about as easily. Let's say you turn this in. That's great, that's really great, but except the sports department really wants their own, they're not really part of the news department, they're really their own thing, a sports section. So in this case, you say, well, that's fine, give me 5 minutes and I'll set that up for you. So Lisa's going to go in now, and she's going to set up a new section in the database just to hold the sports content. And she's going to copy the settings that we already have to do these templates. Instead of doing all those, we're just going to kind of recycle those settings and reuse, repurpose, and recycle within the system. And the next step for her is to go and add some content. Now she's created a new area in the database, and she's going to add a sports entry just to make sure that it's working. Put in a little bit of content there in the content field. Updates that, sends it on to the database. The next step is to jump back to the template because we're going to need to tell that template that now, in addition to the news, we want to grab some sports. So she's going to prepare a tag to pull the sports information into that same template. And just for display purposes, she's going to wrap that in the second column. You see, there isn't tons of code here. There isn't hours and hours and hours of book reading and things you have to do to figure this out. It's pretty simple. And we get an update, and presto. So data where you need it, content where you need it, and quickly and easily, and it's accessible to folks from all different skill levels. Who's using ExpressionEngine? ExpressionEngine is being used to power intranets and websites from companies that are Fortune 100 companies all the way down to Fortune for one companies, which is what some of you are in this room. There are people using it to publish their personal blogs, or people using it to publish websites that have thousands and thousands of daily hits. There are people using it to create websites that have tons and tons of data and information in every type of conceivable field and area, career field, and type of work that you can imagine. ExpressionEngine is being used, and it's quickly becoming the CMS of choice of a lot of developers, and we're really excited about that. See if I left anything out. Check my notes. No? I think it's just know that the tool is accessible to you if you are really geeky and you like to hand code your own stuff, and it's just as accessible to you if you're brand new to web development. Maybe you're a designer and you want to start learning enough about this so you can set up some simple CMSs for your client. We're ready for you, and that's what this tool is. I'm going to hand you off to Derek Allard now. He's our technology architect and our CodeIgniter aficionado, and he's going to give you some of our big news for the day. Thank you.
Derek Allard. It's actually interesting to get to meet a lot of you, and I've had the chance to meet a number of you that I only know through the internet. So make a point of introducing yourselves to us after we've done talking. Okay? I want to spend the next few minutes talking about something that's near and dear to me and is huge news for Ellis Lab. ExpressionEngine 2.0 is going to be powered by CodeIgniter. And here's why that kicks ass. This is huge news for us. This is huge news for me. Everyone in this room already has a good sense of what ExpressionEngine is all about. It's our content management system. Not everyone in this room knows what CodeIgniter is, so just let me take a moment to explain to you what CodeIgniter is. CodeIgniter is our open source PHP framework. And what that means is that it provides you the tools to be able to build quickly, secure, powerful, interactive web applications. CodeIgniter is in a really interesting position because it's got a very dedicated vision and a very engaged community. And because of this, it's really managed to shortlist itself on a small number of really relevant PHP frameworks that are available today. CodeIgniter actually came out of the code base of ExpressionEngine. That's its history. And I like to joke that it's the ingredients of ExpressionEngine left uncooked. You can cook them up yourself. As CodeIgniter started maturing and we started really seeing the benefits that were apparent to building on top of the framework, we started asking ourselves the obvious question. Why aren't we building our web application ExpressionEngine on top of our web framework CodeIgniter? That's what it's supposed to do. And the answer is largely historical. ExpressionEngine came first. It's a lot of work to do that. But the benefits were really apparent. And so we had a lot of discussion about it, a lot of internal debates, a lot of long days, followed by a lot of late nights. And we ended up getting a proof of concept. This is my slide to represent that. Of ExpressionEngine on top of CodeIgniter. And this proved to us that it could be done. It was just a proof of concept, and we're all kind of nerdy, but we were proud. And so we managed to, today, go way beyond proof of concept. We've got to the point now where we have ExpressionEngine 2.0 running on CodeIgniter. And this is big news. Whether you're a programmer or not, if you're a programmer, it's very big news. It's so big news that I created a second slide to highlight it a little bit. ExpressionEngine, the Burninator. Here's the big picture. If you're an ExpressionEngine user, having it built on top of CodeIgniter means that CodeIgniter has full access to all of the libraries inside its application development framework. It means it instantly increases what ExpressionEngine can do for you. If you're a CodeIgniter user, and I know some of you are, you now have available instantly a powerful content management system you can just drop right on top of your existing code base. It'll work with all of the benefits that comes with ExpressionEngine. Library management, built forms, built widgets, all of those things are now available to you in CodeIgniter as well. It's very powerful. And it's not just the code that's coming together, it's the communities that are coming together. Earlier you were asking how many of you are engaged in the community. One thing about the ExpressionEngine community and one thing about the CodeIgniter community is that they're really involved and passionate. And now I see these two communities coming together more than ever. And to have access, for the ExpressionEngine community to have access to the nerds that sit on the CodeIgniter community, means that you're going to start seeing a lot more development a lot more quickly. The faster development is a huge advantage for us as a development team. But it also means that third-party developers can build stuff faster and more consistently and more securely. And it also means to you as the end user, as an ExpressionEngine creator, you can take advantage of these as well. You can build stuff faster and quicker and easier and repurpose it as well. Let me talk about a few very specific examples of how this has already started to happen, because I want you to see that it's not just theory. In order to get ExpressionEngine, which is a pretty complicated web app, running on a framework, we needed to expand CodeIgniter to do so. We set to work expanding the database library. And if you're familiar with it, you've already seen that in action, the active record getting improved. We've greatly increased the sophistication of it and the flexibility of it. We also needed to create a series of database tools to enable manipulation. And we've called it DB4, Database Forge. And that allows you to do table and field level manipulation of your database right through the code. All of these tools are available within ExpressionEngine as well. The database library is one of many libraries. We have several, I think 2 dozen, maybe 3 dozen libraries available to you. And all of these libraries are receiving attention. ExpressionEngine immediately benefits from a more powerful sessions library, a more powerful tables library, HTML generation tool, unit testing. These are all things that are built right into CodeIgniter that are now available in ExpressionEngine. And I'm a bit of a nerd and I get kind of excited about these things. If you're not a nerd, you should be excited that the nerds are excited about this. Because it means that ExpressionEngine is getting better, getting more powerful, and the tools are more broadly available to you. The big thing that I joked last session that it gave me chills is that we've integrated the JavaScript library jQuery directly into CodeIgniter. Yeah. And if you, it sounds like 1 or 2 of you heard that before. And if you use jQuery, I mean, I could probably speak on the microphone right now. That's enough, I've made my point. But it's been integrated right in. It's simple, you use it, it's powerful. You can use it, if you're an ExpressionEngine developer, you want to put fancy effects on your visitors, you can build that right into your site very easily. If you want to build an Ajax-powered login system for your clients, you can do that very easily. We can even use the jQuery library in our control panel. It's very simple. And we know that not everyone loves jQuery. In the last session, someone came up and said, but I'm a Scriptaculous guy. We built it just like we built the database library with drivers. If you don't want to use jQuery, you can just drop in the driver for newsrooms, for YUI. Just literally change one word, and the CodeIgniter framework will take care of rewriting the code for you to be appropriate for that. Very powerful. And the bottom line is that if ExpressionEngine needs it, CodeIgniter is going to get it. And we intend on sharing, and we intend on sharing everything open source. The framework's open source, all our work is open source. It's all out there, it's all available for you. And if it sounds like we're adding a lot, and it sounds like we're going a little crazy, and you're worried about code bloat, or speed, we are too. We're paranoid about it, we're obsessed with it. We really are working hard. We want to keep CodeIgniter the fastest web application framework in its class. It's an important goal to us. We want to keep everything efficient. We're not going to break CodeIgniter. And at the end of the day, what this means is that as a development team, and for you as a developer, you spend less time building tools and more time building ExpressionEngine, and more time building your client site. Having ExpressionEngine on top of CodeIgniter provides other really obvious benefits. We are immediately and instantly expanding what ExpressionEngine can do, and having ExpressionEngine on CodeIgniter means that Rick's paying us to develop it now. We're immediately expanding its reach. And you don't just need to take my word for it about what could be possible. Derek Jones is going to show you how we've already used it, what's perfectly possible today.
Our control panel really is a separate application that we've written with CodeIgniter, and it stands alone in that sense. When we redesigned this, we didn't want to just start from a point of, well, let's change things just to have change. We've got to change
This preview will give you a taste of one of the themes that will be made available at launch. Let's go ahead and log in and have a look at the new control panel homepage in this theme. Instead of being a collection of stats, the new control panel homepage divides tasks up into 3 different areas: creating, modifying, and viewing your site's content. This will help you and your end users more quickly get to the areas that they need to be able to modify and manage their site's content. We've also repurposed and reorganized the main navigation. We're using buttons now. You can still create your own, but the main thing is that we've reorganized the menus to allow you to be able to get access to the tools that you use without having to drill through as many layers. For instance, we've moved members to its own spot, and instead of utilities being under administration, they're now directly available under the tools menu. We've moved the site switcher over to the sidebar and given it a distinct look. This will help those of you using multiple site manager to more quickly and readily recognize which control panel you're in. Immediately below that is a spot for your site's logo. In this preview, we're highlighting Duo in honor of Veerley Peters from Duo that collaborated us with the design of this theme. We've added a control panel search to help you find things if you forget which menu they're under. And there's quick links, which you can customize. By default, we'll give you most recently edited templates, entries, and comments, things such as that. The sidebar itself can be tucked out away so that you can increase your workspace, and this state will be retained as you're browsing through the control panel, but the sidebar is always available to you anytime you need it. The design is also a liquid one, so it will be able to accommodate a variety of screen resolutions as well as visual acuity. Now, along the bottom here, you see I have some accessories installed. Accessories are a new area of the control panel that are simple files that you can create to be able to add information to the control panel for you and your users. As an example, I made one for South by Southwest called Feed Me, and it was just a quick one-off of an RSS reader made for ExpressionEngine related blogs. Might be something I might want in my control panel. Another example would be having videos in one of the accessories. Perhaps you make tutorial videos, and when I train my users, I always do so with Monty Python.
Albatross!
But what the accessories really let you do is to be able to add information to the control panel without cluttering things up. If I go to the accessories area here, we can see I can selectively uninstall and install accessories. Also, and this is placeholder content here, but you'll be able to assign them to individual member groups. Most importantly, you can assign them to a specific page. So if you make an accessory that gives instructions on how to use the publish page for a specific weblog, it won't clutter up the control panel on pages that it doesn't make sense. It'll only be visible to your user on the publish page. So that's accessories, and we think they're pretty cool. We'll go to the members area and we'll look at tables real quick. There's a lot of informational tables in the control panel. And so one thing that we're trying to apply consistently is dynamic filtering. As an example here, this is something desktop applications have had for a long time, and some web applications are starting to pick up on it. We thought it made sense to include it in ExpressionEngine, and that is dynamic filtering of tabular content as you're typing, so it will automatically filter for you. And anywhere it makes sense in the table, we'll be able to do this. Another table that's received a lot of attention is the edit table. One thing that we're doing is dynamic date range picking. And this is something that you can do with these quick little calendars here that will automatically get a from and to dates, save you a little bit of typing. But with the addition of the jQuery into ExpressionEngine, we're able to use the very powerful table sorter plugin with jQuery, where you can just click on a column and it will sort by that column. Now we can take that a step further, and you can see that here we're sorting by author. We have 2 authors, Tom and Jerry, that have posts. If I hold Shift while I click the title column header, it will actually subsort those titles while retaining our author as our primary sort. We've also added Ajax paging, so that when I click my pagination links, it's not having to reload the entire page. But something that's really cool about this is that my table column sorts stay active while I'm paginating through my data. Looking at the design area, templates, message pages, and themes are now all accessible from the same area of your control panel. This will make it easier for you to find and locate and modify the content that controls how various aspects of your site look and feel. If we go to the template manager itself, we can see an example of this in action. The template groups are on the left, and the templates on the right, similar to the ExpressionEngine 1.6 control panel, However, we've added the ability to edit your preferences and your access rights inline. Instead of opening a new form to do this, you can modify your PHP parsing, caching settings, which member groups have access to a template, right here from the Template Manager. Lastly, we'll look at the Publish page, and this is the area that has received the most attention. This is what your users will be using most often. And what you're looking at now is the Edit mode. And when the Edit mode is on, this toolbar will be available that has access to your custom fields, tabs, authors, statuses, and so forth. You can even create new tabs. So if you want to add a new tab, we can do that quickly. And then this tab is available for you. Each tab is literally a blank slate, ready for you to drag and drop your custom fields and status, category selection, author selection, all those different widgets that combine to form the many options that are available on the Publish page. You now have control of where they appear and what order they appear in. By using these control handles that are on the side of each custom field or widget, you can select that and change the order in which they appear. And then you can lock that down so that users will all have a consistent publishing experience. Now, when I hide this toolbar, you'll see what most people would see when they're using the Publish page, because of course this is only visible to administrators that have access rights to do that. I want you to watch this little widget right here. This is a very simple effect, but it just is one of the examples of the level of detail we're putting into the new control panel. Did you see it slide out of the way? Control handles. Okay, now another area of the Publish page that's important to people is publishing content. If you have a lot of text areas that have large blocks of content, you probably know how frustrating it is to edit content in a small text area. Even with larger text areas, it's just not conducive because you have all this information around it cluttering it. If you're like me, you generally publish in another application and cut and paste into your text area. Well, now we've enabled a write mode. It will get the rest of the control panel out of the way and allow you to publish your content without distraction. If you're like me, you don't like buttons, formatting buttons, so you can get rid of those as well. And now when we're ready, we can just publish to the field, and it's updated right there. Publishing content without distraction, in sync. Well, that's what we have to show you so far from our ExpressionEngine 2.0 control panel. We hope you like the technology preview that we have here, and as new information becomes available closer to release, we'll do our best to try to keep you informed.
All right, with that, I think we're actually ready for questions. If you guys don't need mics, then that's fine too.
I'd recommend go ahead and use them so that other people can hear your question.
They recorded.
We'll make an exception for Andrew. Why don't you go ahead and start?
Joey March from EngineWorks for extending simple commerce, or maybe integrating commerce capabilities into ExpressionEngine.
Yeah.
I mean,
there has
do you have any plans to? You don't have to reveal anything.
No, we have wanted, we have been developing a commerce solution for a couple years now. Given the small size of our dev team, it's been a slow process, and we're finally at a point in our growth where this year I think we can allocate some more resources specifically to that project and begin really pushing to get it done quickly. Our goal is to have a fully integrated commerce solution that you can pop into ExpressionEngine and use just as seamlessly as any other module that's available to it. I don't think there's another system right now that allows that kind of seamless interaction and have a commerce solution that actually has usability. Most commerce systems out there are really complicated. They're challenging to set up. You have to become an expert in order to use them. And we're hoping to do something that is as easy to use as ExpressionEngine, but gives you the full capability of a commerce system. A commerce solution is not a small project. It's a full-blown application when you consider the needs of taxes, shipping and handling. The state of New York alone has like 200 tax rates. Coupons and discounts, and there's just a lot that goes into a project like that. Paul, that's been Paul's project, and he's surprisingly far along with it. We're right now focused on getting 2.0 out, and so he's taking a small break from that project. But as soon as we can allocate some resources, we're gonna do that.
Yeah, actually, when we first started, I don't know if you can hear me, that project, there was a lot of research done, and commerce I have to say is probably a bigger project than a CMS would be, just by the sheer scope of possibilities that one would need in a store. Just by growing our own store alone, which was kind of a foundation for this module, the amount of things you need for just renewals and downloads and PDFs and tracking for affiliates, it's an immense project, but we hope you'll be satisfied when you see it.
So, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, internally we refer to that as El Dragon.
Yes.
Because it's giant and powerful and intimidating and all that good stuff.
And by the way, it's limiting us, and we have some ideas for new products and services and things that we could sure use a commerce system to power them, and those things are on the back burner.
I think for those of you wondering where it is in our radar, we need it as much as anybody else.
Oh, and if anything, just because of the presentation Aller did, CodeIgniter is going to make it even easier. And also some of the features, but abilities that are required in a commerce module will then be brought into CodeIgniter as well, just to help.
I have two questions. First, I want to confirm that aside from the 1.x pretty much being done, does that also mean no new modules, first-party add-ons for 1.x as well? And second question, is this the first paid upgrade for ExpressionEngine?
Repeat the question, Stephen. Okay. The question was, the first one at least, this was two questions. Will there be any more further modules or upgrades for the 1.x branch? Currently, we do not have any plans except for any bugs or security fixes, which I think should be fairly obvious because we're pretty gung-ho about making sure our applications are as secure as possible. So no, we do not look at possible further upgrades. That's our current plan. What was the second part of that?
Paid upgrade?
Well, there may be. We haven't made an internal decision on that.
Yeah, we talked.
Well, this is 2.0 is a really big project, and it's taking us more resources, and we're trying to allocate more resources and grow our development team and stuff. So we may need to our goal has always been to keep our products really accessible and really expensive, and keep a high level of customer support and service. And so as long as we can continue to do that, we'll keep things as cheap as possible.
We really don't finalize those decisions until the product's actually done. It's actually one of the last things we do, like the multiple site manager. We didn't even really seriously consider pricing or licensing schemes until we actually had a finished product that we could look at.
And then we fought a lot.
And then we fought a lot over it and went through it. And I would say that when you think about that sort of thing, if you look at the history of our company, we've always been very fair to people about that. We don't gouge people. The product is already priced at a commodity level. We have, so there's going to be a lot of internal discussion about that. Upgrades, or how is the download count going to work? And those are questions that we want answers to as well. But we're not to the point in our development where we're even entertaining what that might be, except that to say that we're very respectful of our community, and we do our best not to pull surprises on people in terms of that, because it's you've invested in it, it's your business, and so we want to be really respectful of that as well. But at the same time, like Rick said, we also have to look at support you guys. We have to continue to grow as well. So it's like, up and down.
So no decision yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really long way to say, yeah, we have no idea.
My question is, something that I really like about ExpressionEngine is I pay $250 and I actually have access to the code, and then I can click it, and that is something that I really like, and I really, that is something that you guys are doing really awesome. Are there any plans in the future to maybe compile some of the code or hide it from all developers to actually, if that is not within the plan, keep it?
Can I answer this?
That way.
No.
It's pointless. We used to have a Zen encoded version as a trial, 15-day trial. You can crack those things very easily, and it causes more problems than their server compatibility issues. It's just we just don't want to go down that path.
And then about version 2.0, which I really like, all the little gadgets, Ajax, jQuery. Something that a question that I have is, we had to create our own also for pagination, where it actually was, doing it dynamically. Is that something that, if you are already creating it into the actual code, that might be
Yeah, let me answer that. And actually this ties back to your question about encoding a little bit too. With the new architecture, with ExpressionEngine being built on CodeIgniter, it actually makes it easier for you to extend the code base. It actually makes it easier for you to get in there and hack without needing to keep track of your hacks and reapply them with each update and all that sort of thing. So your question about, will your plugins, pagination and stuff be, yes, the new architecture provides you with a way of creating libraries that can be reused not only across your site, but that can even be redistributed. Within the CodeIgniter community, what's started to happen is that authors, developers are writing libraries that they like, and they're just sort of getting passed around, shared and improved on by everyone. And we're totally expecting that to continue through ExpressionEngine as well.
Okay. I just want to address your first point about maybe encrypting part of the code. That's almost the opposite of what of our stand as a company, because one of the things we learned really early on in the process is that we are very fortunate to have a very honest and ethical community. We found that for the most part, designers and developers are really upstanding people that always want to do the right thing. And so if you make it hard for them to do the right thing, it just makes them angry. As developers ourselves, we hate using stuff where you have to have these passkeys and decrypt this or get special permissions for that. So that, we want to make it easy for you guys to do your work. So as much as possible, that's where we're headed, just generally speaking, with whatever we do.
And also as a developer, I learned from looking at PHP code, and I want people to continue learning from our code. We actually write some of it in a way so it's much more learnable than actually being very compressed. So.
Great question.
We really like the idea of that. The practical issue is that, as you've seen with Tiny MCE, it presents a lot of problems with browser compatibility. They don't work the same. It's not a consistent experience for the user between what they're used to using in desktop applications with the web applications. So we continue to make them, and we really watch how they emerge. With the size of our development team, it's really not feasible for us to write our own from scratch. Not to say that we couldn't, but that would be many months, So what we're really hoping is that the browser markets are starting to take their own. I don't know if you've seen what WebKit is doing recently with RTF editing built in. And if the browser developers continue in that direction, then this is a problem that won't be a problem for much longer, because there'll be a consistent experience at the desktop level for that. If that comes about, then we'll continue to look at these other JavaScript libraries that do rich content editing. Right now, none of them satisfy all of our needs. We don't think that any of them are good enough to include in our project.
One of the things that it honestly makes us, the nerds parts of us cry, because it is a technology that is not stable. And there are some specific situations where it works great. And like you said, like in your particular situation, a rich content editor is perfect. And when you have a lot of control of your user base and where it's going to be deployed, you can make it exactly what you want. But to include it in default, we have a wide range of users and with people of the opposite opinion. So we actually talked about this recently. A couple of us did, and it's something we really want to do. And we're somewhat cynically optimistic, if that's a term about finding a solution that works like that. But it's one of those things that as soon as that there's something that fits our standards, we would certainly take it more seriously than we already do.
There's also a philosophical issue that comes into play. We've had these debates over and over again.
Yeah.
And that is, who is responsible for formatting the text? Should it be something that happens when a page is rendered on the display side, or should it be something that emit content and store it into your database? I've always been of the opinion that you should keep your content absolutely as pure as possible so that it can be repurposed, used in RSS feeds, used in any myriad of ways, used on devices and stuff. The minute you use a rich text editor, you are adding formatting, embedding it within your text, which gets stored in your database, thereby rendering it only usable for a specific purpose. And so personally, I've always been sort of anti-editors because of that philosophical viewpoint. And if you look at ExpressionEngine, there's a typography feature that formats your text for you. It turns double line breaks into paragraph tags. It turns quotes into correct facing curly quotes. It creates ellipses and other things. To use a rich text editor, you have to disable the automatic formatting that happens. And so, it's just all of these issues are sort of floating out there. And until we have a way to resolve it in a way that's going to be really graceful, a way that's going to be compatible across all browsers, a way that satisfies the different camps who want, it to be a display issue or that. So, people, we get in these discussions in the forums where I think people think that we just don't want to add a particular feature for whatever reason, but it isn't that. It's that there are these.
The other thing I wanted to quickly address, going back to rich text editors, because that's a dead horse that we beat a lot. The other philosophical issue is which third-party tool do you include with your system? And this, like there's TinyMCE, there's the, what's it called, Zynga or Zanga, there's some that you pay for. And when
that sounds like a swear word.
Yeah, there's one that sounds like a swear word. And when you start including third-party application code, then you're committed to that. And now people who also want to use a different third-party code, then there's more for them to undo. And so there's a lot of things to consider in doing that. And honestly, it's one of those things that as a blogger myself, and my wife blogs a lot, it's something we think about, but there's just a lot of stuff to go with it.
For those of you that don't have chief in your title, how do you feel about that? And more seriously, I know you guys hinted at it in a sneak preview, but for those of us that develop third-party extensions and modules and stuff, there's going to be some sort of pre-release for developers to repurpose those modules based on CodeIgniter?
Yes. Yep. I talked to Mitchell, who wrote the tag module, which many people are very fond of. And this week, actually, last week, I wrote instructions for converting a current third-party module to work on EE 2.0 as it is now. And it took under an hour just following these instructions step by step. So we're going to definitely have a preview release. We're going to have instructions for helping you, very detailed instructions with step by step. So I'm really thinking this turnaround, if a developer is really serious about having his stuff working 2.0, should happen in days.
And we'll work with developers
we'll work
too,
and
right?
help too.
Yeah, I mean, you guys drive sales for us, and you guys give us awesome ideas, and you guys contribute back to the community, and we're well aware of that, and we want to be really respectful and return the favor in a lot of ways, which we try to do with our tech support now. So through the forums, you've always had access to all these guys. We don't close off the development team from the community and create some sort of weird middle layer. And we think that making the transition to 2.0, that approach will really be helpful. So.
And I saw this on someone's blog who really wanted to know, did this have to happen, that third-party modules would add-ons would break? Yes. There are certain architectural changes that had to be made to really make 2.0 worthwhile. So there'll have to be some changes.
Hi, I'm Michael Bay, and I demand things to be awesome. Awesome pussycat. Awesome barbecue. Awesome pool. That's why I'm getting Verizon Files. With the awesomest upload and download speeds. Yes, sir. Blows cable away.
This is BIOS. This is big.